Whether you're making $10 million like Miss Rachel or you're a 7-year-old cartoon like Gracie from Gracie's Corner, in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly the benefits and how to be able to pay your kids through your business. And by the end of this video, you're going to know the exact steps that you need to know in order to make your kid and have your kid have a 6-figure net worth by the time they turn 18. So make sure you stick to the end to get all the details and all the steps. But let's get straight into it. Why would you want to hire your kid through the business? Okay, so obviously there's going to be tax benefits as well. So one of the requirements in order to be able to do this is that you do need to be a business owner. So that is like literally step number one. So if you're not a business, you want to make sure you go ahead and become a business owner. You want to go ahead and get that LLC. I recommend getting an EIN number. I have videos on that. So if you want to go ahead and learn more about that, make sure you check out this video over here. But in the meantime, you want to make sure you do this because why? One of the benefits of being able to hire your kids through the business is that now you have the opportunity to actually work with someone that you love, trust, and that you are going to be able to be with long term. Okay, so one of the joys of being a parent is that obviously you're able to go ahead and watch your child grow. But not only that, by having your child work in your business, they're going to be able to learn some really valuable skills that's going to last them for a lifetime. And one of the reasons why I love this strategy so much is that you now have the opportunity to be able to now pay your kids and give your kids money, have it as a tax deduction, and be able to build the wealth at the same time. Another benefit of using this strategy is this is actually going to be an even better way for you to be able to fund your child's college if you want them to go to college. So let's start off with the details. Okay, how is this possible? What are the steps, Mitch? Like, what do you need to do in order to make this happen? Okay, so number one, you want to make sure you have that business. Number two, the next thing that you're going to need is to actually have legitimate services for your child. What do I mean by legitimate services? Okay, so it's one thing to actually just go ahead and hire your child in your business, but you want them to actually be performing legitimate services. Like, when I say legitimate, what you would pay someone to be able to do in your business. Okay, so for instance, let's say you go ahead and you pay your child through the business. You can have them do things such as help you with social media. They can help you with marketing. They can help you be able to clean your office. They can help you take out mail if you're sending out mail. Like, there's so many different things that your child can do in your business, and you just want to identify as a business owner, okay, what do I need help with and what can my child be able to help me with? Once you're able to determine that, one of the things that you want to make sure you understand too is how old your child is. Okay, and this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but this is going to be really key. So as the tax law currently is, there's no age minimum in order to do this. Okay, so they don't necessarily explicitly tell you, okay, your child has to be 12 years old in order to do this, 18 years old in order to do this, 7 years old in order to do this. So if the IRS does not have any laws as far as the age limit or minimum, what exactly could you turn to? So there's actually a court case back in the day, and it allowed a 7-year-old to actually get paid through the business. So what I recommend doing is this could be a really legit strategy. If your child is 7 years and older, you're able to go ahead and do this in the business. Now, just be real with you. There are people out there who do this with their children under the age of 7. You just want to understand though that it is going to be a gray area. It's a little bit more risky, but if they're actually performing legitimate business services and you're able to document that and you can support that, at the end of the day, you should be in good shape. You just want to, again, make sure you have the right support and documentation to legitimize why paying someone under the age of 7 through your business is going to be legit for your business. And in those cases, people like to say that their child is a model for the business. So again, you just want to make sure you work with your tax professional, make sure that you are able to legitimately write off those expenses. But these are the rules too. All right, so the next question you may be wondering is like, how much can I pay my child? Like, what is the maximum amount that I'm allowed to be able to pay my child through the business? And the maximum amount that you're able to pay your child through the business is up to the standard deduction amount as a single filer. So you want to go ahead and look, depending on when you're watching this video, you want to identify what is the standard deduction amount for the current year for a single filer. So let's hypothetically say this is 2024. That amount's going to be $14,600. So you can pay your child up to $14,600 without having to pay self-employment tax and all the other taxes that come with hiring an employee. And when it comes to being able to pay your child up to the standard deduction amount, you just want to look and see, okay, depending on the type of service and depending on my hourly rate, is it going to make sense for my child to be able to get paid up to this amount? Okay, so if your child is 7 years old, maybe it may make sense to start them off at $500 a month. Okay, but again, it's really up to you as a business owner. You have the discretion. There's no rules against it, but just understand, as long as you could document it, as long as you could support the facts, you can go ahead and change your tax. Also, a key thing to understand is this, okay? So the child cannot be over the age of 18. So basically the range I recommend as far as a specific age group, I would say between the ages of 7 and under the age of 18. If you do that, then you should be in the good for being able to pay your kids through the business without a whole bunch of issues down the line. A really important thing to note as well is that you just want to make sure your business is properly structured, okay? So this strategy is actually going to work if you're an LLC taxed as a sole proprietorship or just a sole proprietorship. If you are not an LLC taxed as a sole proprietorship, there's actually a loophole that you can go ahead and use in your business, and that's actually creating another LLC, another sole proprietorship, and then using that as a family business, okay? And then your child can be employed through that family business. Your other companies, such as an S corporation or a C corporation, now can pay that family business, and that's an opportunity for you to be able to pay your kids even if you have an S corporation or C corporation, because one of the requirements of having an S corporation and a C corporation is you do have to pay that 15.3% as far as the salaries that you're paying, and you're required to go ahead and pay your employees' salaries through the business. And one of the questions I get all the time is, do I have to be concerned with any type of child labor laws? And the interesting thing with paying your kids through the business is that those child labor laws are going to be exempt. And you want to make sure you check with the state, of course, so it's going to be dependent state by state. But generally speaking, if you're paying your kids through the business, you're able to not have to worry about these child labor laws as long as they're not doing anything hazardous or extremely dangerous for the child. And when I say hazardous, I mean things like working with explosions or working with any type of sharp equipment, like those types of things, like things that you probably wouldn't want your child to do anyways. Those are going to be considered dangerous, and that is not necessarily allowed. And then you do have to be concerned with child labor laws. But outside of that, if your child is just going ahead and taking out trash, writing emails, whatever the case is, then you're going to be in the clear as it relates to being able to pay your kid through the business. So here are a couple of things to make sure that you are like literally audit-proof as it relates to being able to pay your kid through the business. Okay, so number one, again, you want to make sure you have that business. One of the things I recommend doing is getting that EIN number, which is an employer identification number. You can get that absolutely for free on irs.gov. You can go ahead and get that. It's like a social security for your business. You go ahead and have that. And by getting the EIN number, it's actually going to put your business in a better position to be audit-proof when it comes to being able to pay your kids through the business. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is that you have a timesheet. So you want to look at how many hours your child is spending each and every single week in your business, and you want to make sure you actually record the hours. So let's say, for instance, you have that 7-year-old, let's say they work 1 hour each day in your business. You want to record those in a timesheet that is going to be document that you can go ahead and save for your business. So again, when you're going ahead and getting your taxes done, you don't necessarily have to give it to your tax preparer. It's just for you to have in the event that you get audited. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and you have documentation. When it comes to any type of tax strategy, documentation is key. So you also want to make sure that you're documenting the hourly wage of your child. So depending on the type of service that your child is providing, you want to identify and see, okay, what is a comparable wage for this type of service? So there's a lot of great websites out there. You got salary.com, payscale.com. You just want to go ahead and do a Google search and identify, okay, if someone is taking out trash, typically how much would that be for my business? If I had someone going ahead and doing marketing for my business, how much would that be based on the specific skill set that they have? So one thing that you might be tempted to do is, as a business owner and as a loving parent, you probably may want to try to pay your child significantly more than what the average is. So again, you want to make sure you do a comparison. And if a service is going to cost $10 an hour, if you go ahead and hire someone outside of your family and then you try to pay your child $50 an hour, that's going to cause an issue, and that's going to lead to a headache down the line. Another thing that you're going to want to do is making sure that you're paying your child a W-2 check, and the IRS is going to be able to know based on the overall tax return that that's going to be exempt. So you don't necessarily have to withhold any taxes for your child. You just want to make sure you have that documentation in place to make sure you're compliant when it comes to paying your kids through the business. In addition to the W-2 form, you also want to make sure you get that W-4, and you also want to make sure you fill out that IRS form 941. And if you're going ahead and filling that out every quarter, you are going to be in a better standing. Like, the IRS loves to see those 941s come through. They're like, okay, this business is legit. We're not going to mess around with them. All right, and if you thought that was amazing, it's going to get a lot better. All right, let's now talk about how your kid can now have 6 figures by the time they turn 18 by utilizing this strategy. And before we do that, and before we talk about that, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you've been enjoying this, but let's go ahead and talk about this strategy right here, which is crazier than Cocomelon. Okay, this is going to literally blow your mind when you hear this. So now that your child is being paid through the business, now basically what happens, and now that your child has earned income, they can go ahead and put their money into a retirement account. And one of the retirement accounts that you want to make sure that you have for your child is what's called an IRA account. And the IRA account is an account that you can go ahead, it's going to be a pre-tax contribution, so it's going to be another tax deduction that you can go ahead and take as a business owner. And one of the benefits of doing this is that you're now able to utilize the power of compound interest. Just imagine if you started off putting your money into a retirement account and how much money you could have had if you would have been able to increase and build your net worth. So the way it works is this, okay? As a business owner, you're paying your child through the business. Another thing I forgot to mention is that you want to make sure that your child has a separate bank account. So it's not necessarily you're paying them through your bank account, it's going back into your bank account. They need to have a separate account. So you can go ahead and create a kiddie account with the bank. So there's a lot of banks that allow you to go ahead and create what's called a custodial account. The custodial account is going to be able to be utilized by your child, and they're going to have that money into their bank account. Another thing that you want to do is go ahead and create this retirement account, and that's going to allow them to be able to take advantage of the power of compound interest. So let's say you started this at the age of 7. By the time your child turns 18, assuming that the annual rate of return was 12%, okay? All right, so it's going to depend on when the time in the season is, but over the past 100 years, the S&P 500 has basically returned a return of about 12%. So you go ahead and do that. By the time your child turns 18, they can have over $100,000 in their retirement account, which is amazing. Okay, this is insane. Like, I wish I would have had this when I was 7 years old, and I wish I was learning these principles, but hey, you're here and now you learn this information. So again, that is what you're able to do, and that's literally how you're able to allow your child to become a multi-millionaire, right? Let's say they continue doing this past the age of 18, which they should. Okay, they could literally have millions of dollars by the time they reach retirement. It is insane. It's like insane. It is so amazing. That's why I love being able to share these strategies with you. Another great thing as well is if they go ahead and contribute to an after-tax retirement account such as a Roth IRA, now they're able to take advantage and be able to use the money however they want to, okay, and not have to pay taxes on it. So that's another benefit as well. They're actually able to use their contributions, and there's so many great benefits with it. So again, this is the power of being able to understand tax strategies. Like, literally, this is how the rich get richer. And if you're looking to be able to learn more about how the rich get richer, I highly recommend you go ahead and check out this next video right here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.